Award-winning author Alex McCoo and a dynamic trio have teamed up to share secrets and revelations regarding humanity's evolution in a way that is truly remarkable and unique. Through their messages, you will surely discover each person has a unique role in our collective shift in consciousness. So what are you waiting for? Order your copy of Destination New Earth, now available on Amazon.com.
Hey, what's up, family and friends? It's been a minute, but welcome to my channel again, and to the newbies, welcome to my channel. If you like what you see or hear, by all means, click that subscription button. I got a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. Alright, how many of you guys remember this little guy right here? Oh, we got it right here, little Say, what's up, man? Say hey, say hi to everybody. My, how time has flown. That guy is my baby nephew. And over the years, some of you guys have written and asked me about him. And the thing about my baby nephew is that he is very shy and he's not big on cameras or taking pictures or what have you. But I did make him aware that some of you guys have asked about him and you want to see him. Now, I am very, very appreciative for the fact that he is letting down his guards and has agreed to at least lean into this camera and let y'all see how grown he has become to say hi. So let me call him
2,000 years later.
Alright, come on, lean in the camera. Look at how tall he's got. Hey,
everybody.
Yeah, this is my baby nephew. Look at how much he's grown. I think he's taller than me now. You want to tell them, the people that asked about you, just say,
hey everybody,
come
nice
down
to meet you. Hey everybody, nice to meet y'all.
Yeah. See, he's getting tall. I must say, my nephew, I'm very proud of him. He's an on-road student and he wants to be an engineer. My niece, my nephews, they're all geniuses in their own way, and one of the things that I press upon them is respecting one another's boundaries and to always embrace your uniqueness and build upon your genius. And as long as I'm here and I got life in my body and I see them fighting and trying and doing what's right, Uncle's on their side and got their back. But like I told y'all before, I can be tough too, because they need the balance. Anyway, I got a lot to cover, so let's get on to the second reveal. Now, I've had this second reveal for about 2 weeks, but I wanted to wait until I do this video because I wanted to share it with you guys, especially you guys who are who are equally interested in my artistic side and my artistic creations when it comes to music and visual arts or what have you. So, this project, which you guys are pretty much aware of, this album that I had begun working on at the height of the pandemic, I didn't let that stop me. I went out and invested in some equipment instead of going into a studio because all the studios were closed. I went out and got some equipment and studied and learned and recorded, mixed, and I did 99% of this project, including the art design. Now the digital version of the work is out there. Now I am about to share with you guys the actual CD. Again, I have not seen this. This is a first time for me, so here goes. Whew. A true labor of love this was. It still is, because the work with something like this never stops. I'm doing more production for other artists as well, but promoting and getting the music to the people who will appreciate it. That's the key. Getting the music to the people who will appreciate it is really a job, because my music, it doesn't fall in a particular niche. It's some of everything, but a little something new added. So, all right, here we go. Wow. Look at this. You guys see that? Well, then let me take the wrapping off. It's adding to the shine. These CDs are environmental friendly. They're digipacks. And I got them for that reason. You guys see that? The music, arrangement, all the songs written, arranged, and produced by yours truly. The CD, you open it up. Look at that. Oh, wow. Came out very nice. See that, guys? I am very, very proud of this project for too many reasons to list right now. I got too much grounds to cover, but this, guys, is a true labor of love. I will make it known where you can get a copy of the CD. And yes, I am, at the suggestion of a viewer, I am looking at getting some of these on vinyl as well. I didn't know people still using vinyl, but from what I understand, vinyl is coming back. I really do hope you guys get behind me and support this very positive, highly charged project. All right. Now, on to your questions. There's so many questions, and I'm going to try to answer them in the most quickest and simplified way possible, because, you know, I don't want this video to be too long, but since it is my first video of this nature in a while, hey, if it be a little longer than usual, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to timestamp the different talking points, so that if you don't want to sit through the entire video, you can just hit the timestamp and it'll take you to the talking point of your interest. But hey, if you sit through, and I know my true blue core supporters will sit through and watch the video from beginning to end, but hey, I think it will be better if you just sit through and go along with the flow. Go along with the flow. All right. My first question is, are you using a purple filter? Now, I get this question a lot when it comes to my videos, because you guys know you will see some strange anomalies going on. You will see orbs flying by. You will see flashes of light. You guys, there's a video where I become completely white as the sun, and people think I'm doing some kind of trickery. Now, mind you, these things happen during lives as well. So, no, I am not using a purple filter. It just so happened purple is one of my favorite colors, and my color scheme in the bedroom when I usually come online is purple, because that sets the tone for me. Blue or purple and black. Those are my three equally favorite color. But I use purple or magenta somewhere in between more than the others. And speaking of filters, people thought I'd use a filter on this video right here. This is a TikTok video. And you know, when you make a TikTok video, it will show you at the bottom if a filter is being used. And clearly, I did not use a filter on this video. If I were to use a filter, I'm upfront and brave and honest enough to admit it. I did not use a filter in this video. What you see happening around and behind me was captured on camera, because now, as I've said many times before, these digital cameras, the more sophisticated and advanced they are made, these cameras will pick up a light spectrum that we cannot see with the naked eye. And the same concept will apply to those of us with lens to the brain and consciousness. This is why some people who are more advanced in consciousness and would have a DNA activation can sense and see and pick up on frequencies and light codes and information fields that many others cannot see. Question 2. There's a lot of people saying that we will have a nuclear war and most of humanity will be wiped out. Do you see anything like this happening? Now, first of all, before I answer this question, let me say that I did do a reading on these types of questions beforehand. And like I said before, trajectories can change. When I give a reading, it is based on the trajectory that we are on. But due to there being so many moving parts when it comes to this spiritual warfare, which we are in the middle of, a multi-dimensional spiritual war, trajectories can change. However, because of the way I've learned to fine-tune and check my readings, my accuracy rates are very, very high. And you guys go back and look at videos I've done like this, and you will see this for yourself. And based on the current trajectory we are on, I do not see a nuclear war happening on the timeline we are on. It's not going to happen. It is not going to be allowed. However, an ejection from the sun that will be a bright flash of light. And this is already happening. There are a lot of people who are becoming ill and passing and even spontaneously combusting from the charge and the rays of the sun, which is heating up the planet. I've been talking about this. This has been one of my talking points for years. I even made a video about spontaneous combustion. You guys can go in the archive and look at it. We're going to be seeing more things like that, more people dropping because they cannot, their vessel, for whatever reason, cannot hold the energy and vibration of the sun. And there will be an event that will be the equivalent of what looks like a nuclear war, but it's not going to wipe out all of humanity, but there will be a huge portion of humanity who will be affected by this event. The next question. Hey, what's up, ADB? Just curious, what's your take on the importance of numbers and sequences such as 3, 6, 9? Numbers are very important because, and I'm going to get more into this, and I'm going to tie it to another question that's further down. What you will find is that many of those who are in the know or the elite class, they are very heavy on numbers because the underlining running fact of the nature of reality, which number one, we are in a simulation. I have been saying this for years. Now scientists are confirming we are in a simulation. And within a simulation, you have numbers and binary codes and symbols. So, in order to better map and manipulate the nature of this simulation, those who have figured it out have created a science and higher understanding of numbers and are therefore using certain numbers and patterns to generate a certain outcome for sex magic rituals, for rituals in general, to control, to manipulate. It's one of the reasons why with the birthday thing, people ask about birthdays and numbers and stuff like that. Have you guys ever wondered why is it that in the media, they always got to make it a point to mention the person's age when their age has little to nothing to do with the story? This is because there's mapping going on with numbers by those who are in the know, okay? And dates and things like that. Gematria, some of you guys are familiar with that. So the importance of certain numbers and sequences is understanding and mapping the most likely outcome of a situation, or to manipulate a certain outcome of a situation, or to get a better view or perception or read on those of us who have a certain number sequence around our birth date, so-called birth date, age, our calibration levels, and so on and so forth. So that's the importance. That's the simplest way I can explain it. It's a lot more complex, but I hope that does it justice. Question number 4. Did you see Donald Trump getting indicted or arrested for what was found on the recent FBI raid? Okay, I'm going to have to choose my words carefully with this one because I see what is happening with those who go against a certain narrative and who don't go along with a certain narrative. No, I don't. What I see happening is really more theater, more for optics and for show. But at the same time, it is also revealing the real truth and revealing the real criminals. Not saying that DT is perfect and is an angel. Honestly, no one can be perfect and 100% angelic all the time down here in this mess. But when you are up in those ranks, dealing with sharks, killers, the corrupt, the wicked of the wicked, and so on and so forth, you can't be sweet, charming, and, this ideal so-called perfect leader that many of us have formulated in our minds. However, what I have seen and continue to see is a system that continues to make those who are guilty look innocent and those who are innocent look guilty. It's all about shaping a narrative and shaping a perception in the people. And people who lead with their emotions, who don't do any research, who simply take talking points and just go off of what someone tell them and show them, they're most likely to fall for the bait and the mind manipulation. However, as you guys are seeing, it's revealing a lot of things and it's waking up a lot of people in the process. So again, no, I do not see an indictment or an arrest, but they're going to play on this and drag this out past the primaries. Let's just say that. And it's going to lead up into something that I'm not going to get into now because it's too complex and I don't want to frighten anyone. Any new experiences on the astral planes? Let me tell y'all something. There's always something going on. But the reason why I do not get on camera and share my experiences the way I used to is because we are in the middle of spiritual warfare. The war is not just happening here on this plane. It's happening on the astral. It's happening on other planes of consciousness, other planets, other realms, whatever, other dimensions. This is happening on a universal scale. So in the state of war, you never let the right hand know what the left is doing and vice versa. However, I will share with you an experience that's relative, again, to another question that's further down. I had an experience where those of us who elevate our consciousness to the point where we can access layers, because the astral realm is in layers, just like this, a simulation. There are layers and different possibilities and trajectories within the assimilation. The same is true with the astral realm, right? So those of us who start getting on the realm where you are seeing beings who are not human or humanoid looking, but not quite, I will share with you that I have been to the realm where there are giants, where everyone there are giants. And they look like us. The difference is they're 30, 40, 50 feet tall. They're huge in comparison to us. And the other difference is that when we pop up in their realm, because of where they are in their stature and their level of consciousness, when we pop into their reality, they can actually see us. And so there's a camaraderie there. So that's one experience. I'm going to share with you another experience. I got to a realm where there are beings who are not completely human, or they're humanoid-like, or not human at all, right? Let's just say a non-human being came up behind me while I was on this realm and put what looked like, they froze me. They had some kind of way where they can freeze the body, the astral body. And they put in front of me what looked like a machete, but it was made of a different kind of material, but it was thinner than a machete. But I instantly knew that if this thing came into contact with me, it would do instant damage. a different kind of weapon, right? I heard this being in my mind, clear as day, ask me, who are you? How did you get in here? And what are you doing here? You better not be a demon, because if you are, I'm going to take your head off. It was a male, a very strong male masculine entity. Then right after that being said, that he telepathically said, you have the mark of, he said the word, I cannot remember what the word was. He said, you have the mark of such and such on the back of your neck. Now, as he's saying this, his voice went from warrior, I'm about to whoop your, you know what, I'm about to handle business, to he sound like he was shocked, terrified, and all at the same time. And he said, you have the mark of such and such on the back of your neck. And then I telepathically said, what does that mean? What do you mean? What are you talking about? And then he said, do you know what this means? And he said it with fear. He said that with terror and fear, and like he made a huge mistake. He said, do you know what this means? And I said, no, what do you mean? What are you saying? What is that? What are you talking? He said, it's on your neck. You are. And then he hog-tailed it out of there. He disappeared. Now, later on, I'm not going to give all the in-between details. I met up with two other brothers who had shaved heads, and I explained to them what I had just experienced with that being, and they confirmed what that being said, and I understood why that being had become terrified and he was terrified, but it was almost like he was honored at the same time. I really can't, it's hard to explain these because the communication is kind of different on those realms, but the general state of emotions are similar to ours in many cases. And they confirmed what this being was saying, something about they could see. Again, there are layers to us that we cannot see with the naked eye. And this being saw a mark on my neck, and it meant something to those people on that realm. And when they saw it, he hog-tailed it out of there. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Whew, it's starting to get hot. Number 6, Astral Parasites said they took both my consciousness as well as my soul on Saturday and incorporated it into a parallel universe twin. How do I switch back, and how do I get rid of their astral parasites? They feel really extremely entitled to my body, the astral parasites, and the sorcerers attack me. Now, let me tell you guys something. Those of us who have souls, unless a pre-birth agreement was made before incarnating, these beings are very good at doing the Jedi mind trick. In other words, they're very good at making you believe something is true. And if you don't question it or challenge it or rebuke it, you are consenting to that. Now, I'm giving you a reading, the person who asked this specific question. They do not have the right to do that to you. However, if you do not stand on your square and rebuke that and do not consent to it, by default, you will consent to them doing that. Because again, like I said in my contracts and agreement video, everything here is through contracts and agreements. The problem is the majority of us are making contracts and agreements in ignorance or by being passive. And you know that line they have in law, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, the same applies to many of these situations. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So if they're presenting something to you and you are passive on it and you don't exercise your knowledge and rebuke or deny it, then by default you consent. So they are trying to get you to indirectly consent to this. Stand on your square. Do not consent. That's number 1. Now, in terms of the parasites, we must first cut off what the parasite is there for. Then we must stop doing the things that attracts them and feed them. Okay? And then we must do daily things to keep them at bay, to keep them under control. Many of you guys, and I'm doing a read on this person as well, you guys, I cannot tell you enough the importance of being mindful of who we share our body with. Even when we have relations, things that people, when all the clothes come off, when we have relations with people, even when we use protection, that's not blocking the energetic exchange. So if we are laying up with someone who smokes, astral parasites love smoke. They hide in smoke. Cigarette smoke, the certain kind of weed smoke. They love people who have a very toxic body full of meat and chemicals, alcohol, people who hold a lot of emotions in, people who are very, very stressed out, don't process their emotions well. Low-level parasites cling to those who operate in this way. It's going to take multiple things to deal with this. You have to cut off the behavior that's opening yourself up to it. And then spiritual baths, visualization exercises, meditate and connect and ask your higher self by thought. Don't ask for it out loud, and only your higher self to lead you to someone who's given the best technique for your situation. Trust the process. Sit in front of a tree on a sunny day and ask that and trust it and feel from your heart and let that be your guide. This is a follow-up to the previous question. The beings who said this to this person called themselves gurus in the astral realm, and they claim that they are sent to suppress those with great power. Is this true? Yes. There are entities and beings, just as we have them here on this plane. Again, this is a multidimensional war. There are beings on the astral plane who are there to play mind games and to try to block those of us who vibrate and who have a certain level of consciousness and awareness. This is true. However, they only have power as long as you allow them or believe that they have more power to you, over you. And I'm specifically talking about to my soul brothers and sisters. Everyone does not have that ability, but those of us who are soul brothers and soul sisters, we have far more power than we consciously know. And this is why they do it, because they know. And as the person just said in their question, they said their job is to suppress those with great power. Now again, if they're so great and so powerful, why they have to suppress and go after those with great power? They're indirectly telling you that you have the potential to be more powerful than them. I'm going to give you another astral experience, and it's connected with this question and the previous response that I had given to someone who asked me about astral projecting experience. There was an experience I had where there was this witch who came to me. I saw a skeleton being. There are beings, just like with us, the skeleton is inner. We have a skeletal frame. You have, what's they call it? Exoskeletal. There are beings where the skeletal part is the reverse. They're literally they look like living, walking skeletons, right? I'm on the astral realm. This was some time ago. And there was a witch there. And she told me, she owns you. She just came right out and said, she owns me. And I looked, and there was it was like an image on the wall in the room we were in, and that being stepped out of the wall and was a walking, alive skeleton. And even though they're exoskeletal, they can still move their facial expression. My sister was talking about Skeletor. Remember Skeletor from, I'm going to put up an image. They look something like this. I haven't seen any with the hoodies or whatever, but they are living beings. And when that woman told me that she owned me, I said, no, she don't. And I said it with authority, and I looked at her and looked at the witch and let them know, no, I'm not having that over here. Get the hell on somewhere else. In that moment, I stood on my square because they were banking on me to be afraid, which I was not. and they were banking on me to let that, what she was trying to speak on me, ride. No. Again, I'm sharing this with you guys to make you aware of your power and your position. Do not let these beings trick you and gaslight you into thinking that they have power over you. All right, next question. Regarding your last live stream, I had a question in relation to the encounter you shared about you having bested and outbraved a warlock. Why was the warlock able to absorb the other astral projectors you were in company with? This comes back to what I was talking about, astral parasites. Everything we do on the astral impacts the physical and vice versa. So when we are down here in physical form and we are misusing our body and we are doing things that are not healthy, such as smoking and compromising our physical health and our physical body and our mind and so on and so forth, it makes us far more susceptible on these other realms. And so because I'm one of those people who really, I don't have an Achilles heel. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't sleep around, I fast, I eat 1 meal a day on average. I'm very mindful of what I listen to. And so I'm very conscious, and I'm also in tune enough with myself. And I also have a growing inner sun, which all the soul brothers and sisters have. You can grow your own sun and expand your own sun. They flee from that. When you guys see me turning neon white from the neck on up, that's that inner light coming in. It's showing up on camera. On the astral realm, that's even more amplified. And when you are in tune with that and know how to use that, you can fight off and protect yourself. But what happens is down here, when we do things that makes us afraid, we hateful, we're angry, we eating low vibratory food, listening to low vibratory music, smoking weed, sleeping with people who are usurping our energy, we got demonic attachments, all this stuff. They're feeding off that light, and that light becomes weaker and dimmer, and then that light then has an impact on the astral body and the dream body and so on and so forth. And it's a ripple effect. That's how they were able to get that being, but they were unable to affect me. I was too strong. And this is what I've been teaching you guys all these years, the importance of raising your vibrations, watching what you're listening to, what you're putting in your body, watch who you are sleeping with, and so on and so forth. I practice what I preach, and I'm showing you by example, this works. Next question. There's a guy named Astral Club Rick, and he said in one of his recent videos that there was a galactic meeting regarding a peace treaty that included beings like reptilians, greys, Nordics. Are you ever involved in anything like that? And the answer to that question is yes, in my higher self state, and so are some of you guys. And let me tell y'all something really quick about what I don't like about this UFO, these people who do these channels. It's always interesting to me, they're always talking about the Nordics this, the Nordics that, those that are humanoid, they're always saying they're Nordics, but they never ever talk about the others that don't look like Nordics who are humanoid. But when people such as myself bring that out, I'm the racist. I'm turning it into race. Why don't these people talk about the melanated beings who are involved, who look like me, who are darker than you? There is an agenda, there is a program, and there is a script in place that's pushing this inferiority, superiority BS based on skin tone. And so there are those who don't want anyone to ever consider that there are beings who look like me and darker, who look like African, pure-blooded Africans, African-Americans, people of color, period, who look like us, who are highly advanced extraterrestrial. And I am telling you, that is the truth. But if they are supposedly telling the truth and they're talking about ETs and they're not telling you guys this, I question them. I question who are they really representing. Next question, ABB. Like you have mentioned, there are entities that feed off of sexual energy. If you're listening to music and start generating an energy signal, are there entities that feed off of that as well? I've done videos over the years about that. Yes. This is why so many of us who do this kind of work, we are musicians. We are not down here doing this to get rich and famous. I already know I'm not going to be famous for my music. That's not why I'm doing it. I'm not going to be rich from my music. My music is a part of the ministry. My music is there for the soul. It's food for the soul. It's food for elevation. And those of us who do conscious music, that's why we do it. All that other stuff that's popular, that those are still in power, whose time is limited. They're pushing food that's feeding your lower nature. Every daggone video, they got their behinds up in the camera, keeping you in your lower nature. And you in your lower nature, you're feeding parasites. You are in a state of you're making yourself prime for this kind of stuff that I'm talking about, that I'm warning you guys to get yourself prepared, especially when that sun starts really heating up. Those who have raised their consciousness and their vibration will be able to handle those transitions. Those who have not done that, who are stuck in the lower self, they're not going to be able to handle it. And I don't care what the hue is. These fake pro-blacks, I'm talking about the ones who work for the beast. We see you. They're encouraging and pushing this victimhood consciousness mess instead of offering solutions and pushing the people to do better. Instead, you're glorifying the worst and you're making it all right. And when we speak about it, you try to make us be the problem. Hell no, all of that is coming to an end. That's all I'm going to say about that. So yes, the music absolutely attracts entities. It's based on the vibration that you are consuming, because music is a form of food, emotional food. And based on what you feed, that's what you will grow. That's what my song Skin Deep is about. How do you see the change in financial system going down, ADB? Now, this is where I disagree with a lot of people. Some people are saying it's going to be a cashless society all the way around. People saying it's going to be that some people going to have the chip. They will not be able to buy and sell without the chip. Some people, there's a bartering system. Based on where I see things going, it's going to go through phases, but it's going to be some of all of that. You know why? Because the people, the Civil War that's happening now as we speak, but this is what all these distractions are going to keep people from realizing. We are in the middle of a civil war that's unfolding, and it's going to increase. Look at how there are people literally going in and snatching presidents and leaders in government out, the people going to war with the government. This is happening all over the world, but the media is not reporting it because they don't want the American people. It's going to catch on anyway, especially with what's coming up. Big event. And Trump is a catalyst, and the one that's in there now, they're a catalyst for what's to come. So the people will get to a point where even though they want a system, though they want a one kind of system for all, it's not going to work. The people will demand diversity, because some people will be all right with this, with that. Some people will still want cash. Now, what I do see changing is the money itself. Instead of green notes, the money, you know how they have the gold enameled into the notes. We're going to see money change more like that, and that's going to be like a universal currency. We are moving into a system where the money must be backed by something, be it tangible assets, intellectual property. Even these videos that people are putting out on here, there's going to be value put behind them, and it's going to match the currency systems that are in place. So I see more of a diversity, but we're going to go through phases before we get a diverse system where everybody is satisfied with what system works for them.
ABB is the new Earth from your perspective in fourth density or fifth density. The short and sweet answer to that question is any density that is not as dense as what we're in right now will be a new Earth. But I would say, yes, fourth density and fifth density will be the new Earth, because we have to move through one to get to the other. Remember, these are planes as well, meaning they are layers to this. So in order to move to fourth, that will be the initial phase of moving to fifth. They're connected. So I would say, yes, they are both, from my perspective, representative of the new Earth the fourth, fifth, and beyond. There are different versions and different layers of Earth, different versions of Earth as well. It gets really complicated, but we are just going to keep it as simple as possible. Next question. Do you believe spirit guides? No, I don't believe in spirit guides. I know that spirit guides are real and exist. Within creation, consciousness is what it is. Everything is consciousness, but not everything is self-aware. Spirit is all around us and in different forms and expressions. We have fire spirits, we have air spirits, we have water spirits, we have star spirits. And these are essentially self-aware beings who operate in a way to gently guide us if we make a contractual or some kind of agreement with them to do so. And many times what we call or who we perceive to be spirit guides are simply disembodied ancestors. Remember, there is no death. Death is an illusion. And there are beings who never had a incarnation in the way that we come to know or see it as. So yes, spirit guides are real. And there are different forms, different expressions, and different kinds of spirit guides. And when we all get to a point where we have that right DNA activation and our consciousness is elevated, those extrasensory perceptions are open, we will clearly see just how real they truly are. How can we do calibration readings? Well, I had done a video way back in the day about calibration readings, how to do them. The only problem is that it's very outdated. The whole system was created by PhD Dr. Donald Hawkins, who's no longer with us, but he laid the foundation. And even if you look at that video, it'll give you the general idea of how these calibration readings are done and the rules required to successfully do one. I pretty much took what he started and I came up with my own system and own way of doing. However, that does not mean that you guys cannot go and look at that video. I'm going to put that video in the video description box. But again, that technique is very outdated, but it will give you an idea of how to go about doing them. From your perspective, do you see the earth as round or flat? I told you guys a few times before, it all depends on the perspective one is looking at it. If I'm standing in one position from one perspective, yeah, I will see it as flat. However, if I shift to a higher perspective, I will see it as spherical. If I shift to another different perspective, I can see it as a cube. And if I shift it to an even deeper perspective, I will see nothing but numbers and binary codes, meaning information fields. Now let me give you guys a visual to drive it all home. Let's take this orange. I'm going to cut this orange in half. The lower part represents the flat earth. Now, if I was a microorganism living on the surface of this orange, which again, keep in mind, this will be the equivalent of Earth, from my perspective, it is flat. And as you can see from our perspective, looking at it from that perspective, it is flat. However, imagine this top being an electromagnetic dome that we're going to put down on the cover of this flat surface of Earth. And you know how when we take a magnifying glass and that magnifying glass amps up what we are focusing on and it appears to be on the surface of the magnifying glass, it draws us closer. Now, if we put a dome with the electromagnetic field over top of this flat Earth, from my higher perspective, this would look spherical. Now, I'm going a step further. Imagine this orange with the dome on top of it inside of this container, which would be the equivalent of a cube. And again, this container would be an electromagnetic field on all sides, amplifying the inner contents. Thus, from a higher, different, further away perspective, the earth will appear to be a cube. Now, I'm going to go even further. If we were to shift our perspective to the program that gives us the perspective and the perception of these shapes and all these things that appear to be solid, physical, and real within us and a simulation, what we will find is a series and layers of numbers and binary codes. You get it now? So on a plane that's layered and something that is multidimensional within a simulation, which is a program ran by a binary system, a number system, that's what gives us all of these different perspectives. Everyone is right based on their perspective, but in order to see what the entire plane consists of, you have to shift your perspective from multiple angles, aptitudes, vessels, and viewpoints. The only way to do that is to keep an open mind, continue to elevate our consciousness, get that DNA activation, open up higher sensory perceptions, tap into your multi-dimensional functionalities and flexibilities, and just explore, and you will see all of this for yourselves.
When it comes to very complex subject matters and issues like these, it's never black or white. Nothing is, but we have been programmed to see everything as black and white, and then you have these two polar opposites believing the other has the right over the other, and so now you see this continuous butting of heads, these continuous wars. Try to look at these things without the ego, without the bias, and then you'll better see the bigger and greater picture. Now, you guys asked me about the snake juice. Because of this platform and because of where we're heading, I can't go into what I see happening in terms of the hidden secrets around that. The long-term side effects for a lot of people who had taken it, and and things that are happening right now that's being hidden or whatever. The time is not right. In due time, I will, but you guys will see much of it unfold before then. What I would suggest to you guys is to continue to seek balance. Never accept anyone's perspective about another person at face value, especially now. Don't trust no one. You cannot trust anyone at this point. Okay? Because a lot of souls have been compromised, and a lot of people have fallen off, and a lot of people have become desperate and willing to do anything for fame, money, attention, a man, a woman, or what have you. Use discernment. Get those discernment levels up, guys. Alright, that's it. Until the next time, I say to you, as always, you are loved beyond measure. Even in the midst of all this craziness, the source from which we all truly come from truly does love us unconditionally, because that's what that is. Immeasurable, unconditional love. I'm talking about a force that would love the worst kind of being you can imagine, equally to those of us who walk the path of righteousness. That's a love and acceptance we can't wrap our minds around, but that's where we come from. So this is why I say you are loved beyond measure. I will be back soon. Keep it growing and flowing, y'all. Thank you for spending this time with me.